Good day. I trust you had a very nice time in school today. So, welcome to this lesson. It's a privilege to be teaching you people again. I wish we could be seeing face to face, but nevertheless, it's still good. So, in this video, we'll be talking about trigonometry. I learned that is your first topic you've been dealing with. So, we'll be looking at trigonometry. Trigonometry. Okay, so in this video I'll just do an introduction to the topic, then in the subsequent videos we will look at examples and begin to solve. So first of all, what is trigonometry? It is gotten from two Greek words, trigonon and metron. Trigonon and metron. So the word trigonon simply means triangle. Sorry, I think there's an N. Triangle. And metron simply means to measure. My EO. Okay, so basically the concept of trigonometry, it's simply the measure of triangles. So trigonometry simply means the measure of triangles. So in this video, this introductory part, will be focusing more on the right angle triangle. The right angle triangle. So let's say given a right angle triangle, we have our right angle there, 90 degree. So let's call here A, B, and C. So the side pointing A we would call X. Let me clean that. We'll call X. Side pointing B we'll call Y. Side pointing C we'll call Z. Okay, so if we look at this right angle triangle, the side AB is the longest side, and the longest side is called the hypotenuse. It's called the hypotenuse. I'm sure we've learned that before. Then please take note of what I want to say now. If we are considering angle A, the side X becomes the opposite and Y becomes the adjacent. That is if we are considering angle A. But if we are considering angle B, the side Y becomes the opposite and the side X becomes the adjacent. Please take note of that. That is very important. Let me throw more light on that in the next slide. But before that, I'm sure we've heard of this before. The concept of SOHCAHTOA. So like I said, this is just an introduction. So SOHCAHTOA, from this we can see S here is sine. I think there's no need for the E. Sine, and O here stand for opposite and H stand for hypotenuse. Okay, so sine is opposite of hypotenuse. Then we have cos, which is C, that is adjacent over hypotenuse. Remember, hypotenuse is the longest side. Okay, and then we have tan, which is TOA, that is T-N, opposite over adjacent. Okay, so I'm sure we know this basic SOHCAHTOA formula. So now let's consider our right angle triangle that we discussed about earlier. Let's consider this right angle triangle. So if we are to find sine of any given angle, let's start with x. For example, if we are to find sine x, we know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So what is the opposite based on angle x? So now the side this x is pointing is the opposite side, which is A. Then our hypotenuse is the longest side, which is C. So we can see that sorry, this is C. Now this shows that with respect to the angle x, sine x is A over C. But also, if we say, what of sine y? Remember, it's the opposite over hypotenuse, right? But now there's going to be a little changes here. So if we consider y now, our opposite is what? Correct, we guessed it right, B. Then our hypotenuse is what? Is C. So you can see the difference between the two because of the angle we are dealing with. So for sine x, it's A over C, sine y, it's B over C. So take note of that. The opposite changes and the adjacent also changes depending on the angle we're looking at. So let's consider cos. So cos, remember that is adjacent over hypotenuse. So let's say we consider cos x. So if we are considering cos x now, the adjacent, but before the adjacent, this is our opposite. Our opposite is A, right? So our adjacent will be B, and our hypotenuse, the longest side, is C. So if we say cos y, adjacent over hypotenuse, our adjacent is, if we are considering y, B becomes our opposite, then our adjacent becomes A, and our hypotenuse is still remaining C. So that is that for that. Then also, still considering the same triangle, if we look at tan x, remember tan is TOA, opposite over adjacent. And okay, so tan x, the opposite is A, the adjacent is B. Okay, then tan y, opposite over adjacent, which is our opposite. Now since we are considering y, our opposite this time is B, right? And our adjacent now becomes A. So you can see that it changes based on the angle we are referring to. So this is just the basic introduction of what we'll be looking at in this lesson, so we'll go back to it again. So trigonometry, we said, is from two Greek words, trigonon and metron. That is the measure of triangles. So we've reminded ourselves of SOHCAHTOA, sine, cos, and tan, and the measure of different angles given a right angle triangle. So in our next lesson, we'll be looking at some examples. All right, so thank you for listening. On to the next lesson. Stay well.